Hello everyone, we're back with another Legacy Rug League, and so today we're going to be playing with some Rhinos. So you may recall this kind of build that we're looking at here, that Eco Baronin got second place at the Showcase Challenge with a couple weeks ago. And so, this is the updated list now. And so I guess we're off Brazen Borrower and main deck copies of Endurance and extra copies of Minsc and Boo and Murktide. And what we have now is a set of Mystical Disputes, and we're maxing out on the Fire and Ices and Seagate Restorations, and we're playing some copies of Dead Gone now. So I'm not sure why you'd want Dead Gone in particular over Brazen Borrower, especially when another one of the changes going on is that we're playing these copies of Fury and Pyrokinesis now in the sideboard. Seems like a lot of removal. This fellow went as far as to play a copy of Dead Gone in the sideboard. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. Yeah, so this is my take here. I'm gonna play 2 Dead Gones in the main deck. I like the new mana base. Like, I don't know why the old builds weren't playing 12 fetches, so this all makes sense. No copies of Murktide Regent, which I didn't find to be very good. I thought that Uro seemed fine for the Delver Mirror, but now we're going to be playing a lot more counter spells and more removal. So, I can see how this might work. I'm not quite sure about the sideboarding strategy against Delver. Like, are we going to bring in these Furies and Pyrokinesis? I guess probably not, right? Probably minimal changes. Probably bring in some of these endurances, maybe. Anyway, well, we'll see how this sort of updated build shakes out in the current metagame. So yeah, let's give it a try. So we're gonna start out on the draw against Bim Bam 1342. So they take a mulligan. I guess I would have to say that our hand does have a copy of Force of Will. But I mean, these Elvish Spirit Guides don't do nothing. And so I think this is a mulligan. Alright, so this hand has some removal spells and does the Rhinos. So I think we're going to keep here. And I mean, I'd say it's either put back a Fire and Ice or a Wooded Foothills. We'll probably draw a mana source at some point in the next couple turns. Okay, so the opponent does reveal a Chancellor here. Okay, so we're getting a oops all spells strat, it looks like. Okay, well, they got it. I guess we'll see what their deck looks like, eh? So the Undercity Informer ability resolves. Let's see what they're working with here. Some Chancellors. Otherwise, it looks to be a pretty standard build. Pact of Negation. Okay, I think I'm all set to concede here. Yep, that's what we're going to do. I see the Dread Return and the Thassa's Oracle in their graveyard here. Alright, so the sideboarding I came up with is we are going to bring in Inevitable Betrayal to try to snag their Thassa's Oracle. Maybe grabbing a Chancellor would work also. But I think grabbing their Thassa's Oracle should be fine. And then the plan is just to try to win with Minsc and Boo. I don't think we need Dead of Gone. They probably do play some Xantid Swarms, but we got Fire and Ice. And then Mystical Dispute. I cut 2 of those copies to get in all 4 Endurance, which shuffling their deck back in buys some time against Oops, I believe, but isn't like a lights out scenario. I think they just need to go off again. Yeah, let's give this a try. Alright, so we'll go first this game. And this hand is pretty sus, so I'm going to mulligan. Okay, so this hand buys time with Endurance and then does the Inevitable Betrayal. And so I think I can just put back Minsc and Boo. Probably pitch one Shardless Agent to Endurance, and then play Shardless Agent on turn 2. And then if they play like a Thoughtseize or something, I think they end up taking Endurance or whatever, or Shardless Agent. I think this will work. So I'm not going to play the Seagate Restoration and clue them in on what's going on here. Xantid Swarm. Sure. Okay, so I think we're in okay shape here. Pay 3 life. We'll sacrifice this and fetch a Taiga to get all our manas. I guess we'll yield to this. We'll cast the Inevitable Betrayal. Yep, and I'd say we're gonna get Thassa's Oracle here. I've never actually cast Thassa's Oracle before. Okay, I always thought the card from Thassa's Oracle went into your hand. It helps to read the card. But the opponent's ready to concede anyway, so that's nice. So I don't think we saw anything there that would make me want to bring in Force of Vigor or Fury or Pyrokinesis. I think we just have to roll with Fire and Ice. I mean, the only thing is Mystical Dispute. Maybe over, like, maybe 3 Minsc and Boos is a lot. I guess I was worried that about winning the game after Inevitable Betrayal resolves. I think 3 Mystical Disputes and 2 Minsc and Boos would probably be fine. Yeah, I'm going to roll with this. Alright, so we're on the draw, and we have Endurance. The opponent's going to keep. But other than Endurance, I mean, this hand really does not do much that's exciting. Well, I don't know how worthwhile it is to go looking for additional means of protection. I mean, if the opponent has a thing with force backup, I need 2 ways to get around it. Like, I need 2 counterspells, or a counterspell and Endurance. I think I'm gonna try it. So the Chancellor's a bummer. because we have the Elvish Spirit Guide, but not another green card. I feel like we're probably dead. Yep. Alright, well I guess this one was a mulligan. Yeah, they definitely have the thing, so we can concede. Alright, in retrospect, I think the last hand was probably just too weak. And so this hand has a bunch of counter spells, but if only it had like a blue mana. Well, I looked up Hetty on MTGO Goldfish. Their one legacy deck is a combo deck from a number of years ago. Probably, I just tend towards not mulliganing. And it's probably smart to mulligan aggressively. But we're just like a blue mana away from this hand working. And that's a blue mana. So I think I'm just gonna go for it. Alright, the opponent lost connection and then got connection back, and now they're doing a spell pierce. We're gonna force their spell pierce. Alright, the opponent does have Force of Will after all of this. So we won't pay. They are down to 3 cards, and we have the Shardless Agent in hand. They had to pitch Brainstorm. Okay, they're gonna ponder. Okay, well, we're going to suspend a Crashing Footfalls. I mean, it's not a terrible top deck. If the opponent's strapped on resources, it seems like they are. Alright, so they found their second land. I wonder if it is like Show and Tell, perhaps. A blue card would be a great draw. It's not a blue card. Three turns to go on this on these footfalls. So it looks like it probably is Show and Tell. Okay. They don't have Simian Spirit Guide though, so this is like a windfall, huh? Alright, they find Volcanic Island. That Boseiju probably did work. I mean, okay, Mystical Dispute, definitely a good draw here. My faith is renewed in this deck. Alright, Ponder resolves. They're gonna Show and Tell. We have the Mystical Dispute. Okay, so we countered the Show and Tell. Yeah, I'd still like to draw a blue card here. So we'll get some Rhinos next turn. Okay, that's a great draw. So I think we're going to cross the finish line here. we got here? Ponder, we'll let that go. Alright, Ponder resolves. They choose not to shuffle. They have another sneak attack, but we do have the Force of Negation. Okay. So I've swapped out the Footfalls for the Inevitable Betrayal and Minsc and Boo package. So that sideboarding makes sense. And then there's just a question of whether it's worthwhile to bring in some Force of Vigors, which doesn't really hit defense grid. I mean, Blood Moon I'm not really worried about. But it, it would hit a sneak attack, possibly. I mean, I guess Dead Gone is basically a do-nothing card here. So I'm going to bring in 2 Force of Vigors there. And I think that'll be fine. Okay, let's try it. So let's see, this hand. So we have a counter spell and some mana, but nothing else. It's not a great counter spell either. I feel like I'm probably supposed to mulligan, right? I mean, this buys time to do what? I mean, we do get Minsc and Boo down eventually, but Fire and Ice here really isn't all that exciting, except that I could potentially ice something to buy time. The opponent mulligan, this is mulliganing. Well, I think that this hand is better than the one that I didn't mulligan in game 3 against Oops All Spells. It does have a little bit more going on. But really, this hand just has a single copy of Mystical Dispute, and I think it's a mulligan. Alright, so this hand, yeah, is much more interesting. So I think in a hand like this, I'm inclined to put back Simian Spirit Guide. I mean, we're probably the control anyway, but probably the way this looks is that we force like a show and tell, and then Mystical Dispute. I can probably draw a mana source here. Yep. Well, I drew a mana source, and I think I can afford to keep Seagate Restoration in hand. Not play it tapped here, so. So Shardless Agent is another card to pitch to Force of Will. I probably want all these blue cards in hand, and so with all that in mind, I'm just gonna play the Boseiju. I mean, I could Mystical Dispute this, but I think that I won't. It would be ideal that if they go for it on this turn, and then on my next turn we get to go for a Cascade. Yeah, we're gonna have to let these cantrips resolve. Alright, yeah, so they don't shuffle. Looks like we're probably just another cantrip here. So here's a defense grid. So I think this is fine because it's gonna mean that I get to Shardless Agent, unmolested on my turn. Unless they have like 3 Lotus Petals show and tell. I guess which land I get doesn't matter too much here. I guess I want a red source. And I don't see much reason not to play the Shardless Agent. Since I don't need to pitch it to Force anyway. And so I think I just get to cast Emrakul here, right? Yeah. Oh, it just goes into play. I don't get to cast it. Well, I don't. Okay. All right. It worked. Well, normally I play Delver, folks. Is all I can say about that. Magic is a game of learning. All right. So for game 3, we're on the play. And we do have a turn 1. So I guess I'm going to go for it. That's what we came here to do, right? And then we do have a second land. So at some point I'll get to try again. So what land do I want to fetch? I guess I'm not like super worried about Wasteland. I think starting on Tropical Island seems fine. Well, maybe actually I will just get Island and then because I definitely do want to be able to Cascade again. So a basic I think does make sense. All right, what does the opponent have here? Saga. All right, so they're going to be a fast artifact deck here. So we had a pretty good start, but can we keep up with... Oh, it's going to be one of these decks. Well, their start may have been better than mine, unfortunately. Okay, well, if they had like a Wishclaw Talisman, I would think they would have played it. So we're going to be trying to eke across the finish line here. What's their last card? Is it some kind of combo piece? No. Force of Negation. Yeah, so I think we're just going to be attacking here and trying to draw our third land. Yeah, I do need to sacrifice my Wooded Foothills here so it doesn't get Pithing Needled. We'll get a Taiga. Alright, so interesting that they aren't making another token. I wonder what they can get here. I guess maybe they just want to get the, they probably have just another Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay, I thought maybe, the lifelink equipment. Shadow Spear. So, Infernal Tutor. Yeah, so we're going to get to force this. Alright. Alright, well, I'd say we're in the clear here. I think they should have just made another token. Because, I mean, now we're just going to win. Okay. Or what the draw would have been. Alright. Okay, so it seems like I want Force of Vigor here. I mean, obviously. So, like, I really don't know about these dead gons. Like, Brazen Borrower would be good at bouncing constructs. But we're not doing that in this matchup. I mean, Mystical Dispute seems pretty slow. And I think, maybe I just like Minsc as a green card. I think it's pretty hard to imagine getting the Mystical Dispute something. I like that Ice can tap a construct for 2 mana. And keeping Dead Gone in just to bounce a construct token seems pretty soft. And Minsc could definitely like come in there and fling our way to victory against a construct. And this thing can actually pump up a Rhino, so yeah. Alright, so this hand is a whole lot of nothing, I would say, for this matchup. So I think it's going to be an easy mulligan here. The opponent did keep. Okay, well, this hand is pretty awesome. And so I guess we're going to have to put back a land here. You know, alternatively I could put back the Crashing Footfalls, but I think it's going to be a situation I probably actually suspend the Crashing Footfalls on turn 1, pitch the Violent Outburst to Force of Vigor, and then pitch the Seagate Restoration to Force of Will. So I think we'll put back Snow-Covered Island. So it looks like a Vault of Whispers and pass from the opponent. And I think I'm going to stick to my plan here. So yeah, I don't think basics matter. And Tropical Island seems fine. I think blue sources to eventually hardcast Force of Negation is the most likely concern here. Okay. Well, you're going to get to take either Force of Will or Force of Vigor here. The opponent's tanking on it a bit. They're both, I would imagine, good cards against what my opponent's doing here. I was excited about the prospect of getting to Force of Vigor something. But I guess we are going to get to 3 mana to Violent Outburst before too long if they do take the Force of Vigor. And we'll have Force of Will to buy time. So, okay, they do take Force of Will. So, okay, so yeah, they're going to not just walk into a Force of Vigor here. Oops. Another Outburst. Well, I would definitely take any opportunity to get like my 2-for-1, I think, on Force of Vigor at this point. But they will need to kind of go for it all in one turn. And again, they are going to be under pressure from some Rhinos here, starting. Well, we'll get to play them on my next turn cycle here. Alright, well, the opponent does have the duress. They get to take my Force of Will again. The opponent commenting on me having the exact same setup. They'll take the Force of Will again. So if I could just draw like a Spirit Guide or a Force here, that'd be cool. Alright, Spirit Guide. That's cool. So we'll get Tropical Island and Volcanic Island. So we were on the draw last time, and this is going to be quicker. So hopefully this Force of Vigor is a little bit better this time. Okay, so the opponent is Fatal pushing. I would say that's probably a good sign. We can play this Fatal push game. So if I play Rhinos next turn, so I could attack for 7. But then I don't have the Force of Vigor up. Okay, but I drew a green card anyway. So I would say I pretty much have to Violent Outburst here, and attack for... Sorry, attack for 8. And then we should have plenty to kill them with next turn. And I could Shardless Agent here instead, but I think just why not take the extra damage, right? I mean, they're not going to be able to get any constructs out here. I mean, technically, I guess I could have waited until they're blockers, but yeah, I think that's all fine there. So is it worthwhile to destroy their one land here? We're not gonna. I think it's the one man. It doesn't matter as much as maybe making it more awkward for them if I don't Force of Vigor the land. I mean, they have to do some sequencing with Lion's Eye Diamond to get it. Like, they can only play, like, 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds isn't very good, because I get to Force of Vigor one of them. Or they can't Wish Claw and then Lion's Eye Diamond, is what I'm thinking about here. Okay, so we did get there. Alright, so we'll be on the draw against Cloud9 here. Well, the opponent's taking a long time, so I looked them up on MTG Goldfish. They've had some finishes with lands and depths and also elves. Okay, but they're here now. This is a pretty slow hand against lands, or depths for that matter. If I knew it was a slow, grindy matchup, it would be okay, although I think in the dark this hand is pretty questionable. It doesn't have any real interaction. It doesn't do anything. And I'm on the draw, so I think those are all fine reasons to mulligan. So this hand, obviously it has some removal spells, so if they are playing creatures, it would be good. Crashing Footfalls is not great, and the Mystical Dispute is not super exciting either. If only that Crashing Footfalls was a Cascader. I feel like I tend to not mulligan aggressively enough with this deck. It's just that this hand could be potentially good if my opponent is on the creatures. So it would probably look like put back, Dead Gond, suspend Crashing Footfalls turn 1. I guess it has coverage if the Mystical Dispute's actually good. But the Simian Spirit Guide basically does nothing in this hand. So I'd probably be looking at putting that card back. I think this hand just is pretty weak, and I'm gonna try mulliganing. Okay, so this hand has the Force of Negation and the Outburst. So I can put back Crashing Footfalls. And probably basic Island, right? So I think I am going to save Force Negation for the Life from the Loam. Pretty hard not to not snap this off. Alright, Saga ticks up. Expedition map. Maybe I should have just FoN'd the Exploration here, because they have to have Life from the Loam for that to make sense. And that is a classic bit of logic. Maybe like in Delver, that's what I normally do, but maybe just the way this deck is designed, that's not right. It's going to be hard to deal with these construct tokens. This expedition map. I think I kind of am in this position where I have to force this. Like, more constructs are going to be tough to beat. The best case scenario here is to draw Simian Spirit Guide and get to work with his Violent Outburst. Okay. Mystical Dispute. Not the most exciting. The opponent doesn't have much else going on. At least we have a bunch of Rhinos coming down the pipeline here, but they do play the Shadow Spear main deck, I believe. Yeah, so they're going for, maybe let's get Expedition Map. I can somehow not lose to that. The good news is we'll have Force of Vigor post board, so. Oh, they just have a Saga in hand. Good for them. And they get to equip up the Construct token. Okay, so we're going to get to kill a token. Because we're going to have a 5/4 Rhino to block this construct with. They can make another construct. Crucible of Worlds. Yeah, well, that's not good, huh? I could Mystical Dispute this, but I think we've just lost is what it is. Yeah, that'll give them the 5/4 token, huh? But they're just going to be able to keep the tokens coming. Alright, well, whatever. I mean, burning the Elvish Spirit Guide to Mystical Dispute doesn't seem like winning Magic either. Oh, and they can just make more tokens here. So they can make it a 6 now, and yeah. Okay. A 6/6 token. Alright, so I think this does get better. So these Dead Gons seem terrible. Like, Brazen Borrower could at least bounce the Construct token for 2. I don't think Fire and Ice is great here. Seagate Restoration's doing work by being a blue card. But I guess this only leaves me with 16 blue cards. I mean, maybe Endurancing Life in the Loam isn't that exciting. And then we have plenty of green cards for Force of Vigor. I think I have to keep. We have Force of Will for Exploration and Force of Negation for Life from the Loam. And if we get to, well, we have mana, and so if we need to pitch this Shardless Agent to one of these counter spells, we have the mana just to draw another Cascader. Okay. What's this gonna be? Crop rotation? Forcing crop rotation is usually the play. I cannot imagine what they would get that I would care about. But it, you know, yeah, usually forcing crop rotation works out because it's a 2 for 2 as opposed to a 2 for 1. Okay, well, that's working out. And this Maze of Ith is going to slow me down, that's true. But if they're not doing anything else, I think that's okay. And there's a Force of Vigor. I mean, I'd like to play that. But I'd say I have to get a Cascader down. I don't really know if getting like Island and Forest helps here, but maybe it does. I guess I don't see a reason not to do that. I could get wasted off a red here, but what I really want is another mana to hard cast that Force of Vigor. It's almost worth letting that crop rotation resolve just to see what they would have gotten. But maybe Yavimaya was what they were going for there. So Thespian Stage pass. Land. So we attack here. And then I have to decide if I want a Shardless Agent with Force backup. So that would mean next turn I get to attack for well, I'd have 20 power on the board and they could prevent 4 of it. And then I have a Force of Will in hand. It would get blown up by the Tabernacle. I think they kind of can't beat the Force of Vigor. I think I'm going to go for the Force of Vigor. I mean, they just don't have any colored mana. I'm just noticing the way I fetch the lands doesn't let me cast Force of Negation. That was really dumb. Okay. So they're going to use Ancient Tomb to copy Thespian Stage, but I should be able to limp across the finish line here, but I don't know. It just, they had this, the one way to lose seemed like a singleton Tabernacle off the top. Okay, now they have manas. Sphere of Resistance. Well, that really doesn't matter, I don't think. Okay. So I get to ice a Maze of Ith, and then just, should be able to win the game here. Okay. Okay, I don't think we need to make any changes. I didn't miss Endurance. Force of Vigor seems a lot better. Be on the draw, so that's a little tricky, but Ice did some work. So I'm pretty happy with how that all went. Yeah. So what do we have here? We have Force of Negation and Force of Vigor, but no lands. Well, we have a Simian Spirit Guide and 2 Minsc boos. Well, if we find lands, see, I feel like I can expect to draw lands. They're mulliganing to 6. I'm just looking at how many lands I play in this deck. There we go, 18. And then the 4 Sea Gates are 22. And then a whole load of Spirit Guides. It's not that unreasonable to expect to draw manas. I think I'm going to grudgingly... I mean, I think I should be more aggressive with the mulligans, but... Now they're on this mulligan to 5. And, like, forcing a life from low... Like, when they don't have a lot of resources, their deck doesn't do a lot, and that's what we saw in the last game. If we can just draw mana, which is what 50% of the deck is, see if we can play Exploration. So, okay, alright, well... Come on, land. Well, that's, that is a mana source. Okay, well, we certainly got there with the back-to-back land, so this is pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. So I guess I'm gonna get Volcanic Island here. The other choice is Basic Forest. It's not super compelling in my opinion. And then this could potentially cast Ice. Man, I guess another choice would be Tropical Island, but it doesn't cast fire. If I draw Seagate Restoration, that does cast both sides of the fire and ice anyway. So, yeah, let's do this. So Elvish Spirit Guide, yeah, makes fire and ice something we can cast. There's a Tabernacle. Okay. I mean, so we're paying, and we still get to hold up Force of Negation here. So Wasteland would be a good one for them, but yeah, that's pretty much what it's going to come down to here. Don't play Wasteland. Okay, they didn't play Wasteland. All right, it's the final round, and we're on the play. So this hand is pretty uninspiring. It's just a slow Crashing Footfalls, and I think that has to be a mulligan. Okay, so this hand is slow Rhinos, but it does have some counter play. And so I think the move here is to put back a land. Alternatively, I could put back Force of Negation, I think. So yeah, I think, All right, well, I looked at my opponent on MTG Goldfish. It looks like they're on Mono Black, Karn, Dothy Voidwalker, Oppo Agent, Ravenloft Adventurer, the Initiative, the Black Initiative card, Helm, and Leyline. And it does play Thoughtseize and some Snuff Outs, but only 4 copies of Thoughtseize. So I think the card I want to put back is, I mean, probably Force of Negation, but alternatively it could be Fire and Ice, or it could be a land. I mean, I'll have 2 draw steps to hit a land before turn 3. But I mean, how good is this Fire and Ice? I mean, it hits Oppo Agent. And Dothy Voidwalker. And it pitches to Force of Will. I think it's probably put back Force of Negation. I guess I'm going to Scalding Tarn pass and try not to... Okay, so it looks like it is going to be the mono black. Deck that I described before. And they'll need to decide between Force of Will and Shardless Agent here. Okay, so they do settle on Shardless Agent. There's a Dead Gone. So I think I'm gonna pop these fetch lands and play around Wasteland. I mean Oppo Agent, and not play around Wasteland. The way this hand looks, I'm probably icing their swamp here. Alright, so I mean that kind of worked out. Yeah, so we're gonna play this and take 3. And then we're gonna hold Shardless Agent in hand because it pitches to Force of Will. Well, let's see what they can do here. Alright. Yeah, I'd say we're forcing this one, huh? And yeah, we just have this Dead Gone, which is terrible, I would say. Okay, but at least Mystical Dispute's like a reasonable draw. Yeah, I'm not impressed with these Dead Gones. Well, the Helm of Obedience like really doesn't matter. I mean, they would need to like Thoughtseize. They can't Thoughtseize me. This really just doesn't matter, and it could be like a. Oh, we can just win this turn. Okay. All right, so this looks like their deck on MTG Goldfish. So they got some creatures with toughness 2, the initiative, Karn, Thoughtseize. So Plague Engineer, I'm not worried about. They do play a lot of artifacts. So it's like, what do we want to do here? um, like, should I bring in some Force of Vigors? Dead and Gone seems really bad, but I could hit one of their 2 drops or 2 toughness. Voidwalker or Oppo Agent. So I mean that could be a concern. Mystical Dispute. I guess Mystical Dispute is on the chopping block. Minsc and Boo could be good against some like the initiative portion of their deck. And then I think Fury. Potentially, man, Dead Gone. It seems just. I mean, it might be easier. Like, I mean, Fury just does take out that Ravenloft Adventurer, just a 3/4. It could hit Karn as well. Dead Gone really does not seem good. We'll try it and see if I somehow miss the Dead Gones. Alright, so this hand has Force of Will. And does the slow suspend. So they play 4 Thoughtseize. This Fury not looking great. Probably Dead Gone might be better than Fury here. But we do like a slow suspend. Force something. Maybe draw a red card to pitch to this Fury. Okay. Well, there's a Thoughtseize. Okay, so they took Force of Will. Okay, Well, at least there's a red card to pitch to Fury. And that can also counter the Helm. So maybe not a terrible position to be in. If I were to get Taiga here... no, let's not do that. Okay, well there's a Cavern on a Rogue. And there's a Dothy Voidwalker that can't be countered. So yeah, I'm comfortable just playing the fire on this. I mean, the only thing is it doesn't really matter. And we don't want them to resolve Helm. You know, I think I am just actually going to pass. I mean, if they were to play another creature... Yeah, see... Now they have the Oppo Agent, the Oppo Agent game we're gonna play here. Yes, I'm gonna sacrifice on their end step and then fire their Oppo Agent that I'm assuming they have, that they don't have. Okay. So I think I'm gonna be comfortable just playing Minsc here. And we're still just trying to make sure we don't lose to Helm. So I need to like Thoughtseize and Helm in one turn. You can be sure that I'm gonna fling this hamster the first chance I get. So it's just a question of what they can do this turn. Coming at me. Sheoldred the Apocalypse. Okay, well, that's a way to lose this game, huh? But no, what I can do though, no, I can't fling the Sheoldred at it because the Sheoldred draw trigger happens first. That's a bit of a problem. No. But at least I get my Rhinos into play now. Okay, well, what am I drawing here? Well, I can attack with Minsc to start, right? And see what they want to do about that. I guess I should have plussed it first. Looking back. Okay. Well, we have a blocker for Shieldred. So I just need to not draw too many cards here. The Dothy Voidwalker has to die. So maybe it's worth just Simian Spirit Guiding, casting Simian Spirit Guide here. Or not casting it, but pitching it and getting Fury out and killing the Voidwalker. Okay. Then so we still, yes, they gain a little life here, but we can do a lot of damage. If they don't have the Helm. Okay, well. Do they have the Helm now? Bummer. Oh. Okay, well. Yeah, so we rallied back there. Yeah, so we played against Oops, Show and Tell, Mono Black Storm, and Mono Black Helm, and stuff. Karn, probably. Yeah, so I mean, I think that the changes, they've made to the deck, it seems like the deck's moving in a good direction. But I really don't know what's up with the Dead and Gone. I mean, I would just think that Brazen Borrower is better. And then, like, yeah, we're up to 4 Furies and Pyrokinesis, Kinesiosos. That seems excessive. Like, I don't know. I guess that's like for the initiative, right? Is do some pyrokinesis. To all right. Well, anyway, yeah, I think Brazen Borrower just seems better than Dead Gone, and so I think the sideboard worked out. Like, I guess playing only one Inevitable Betrayal seemed fine. I was a little worried about that because if it's in your opener, which I believe did happen, but we just mulliganed. And yeah, well, I think the deck is obviously moving in the right direction. With the mana base working now. Well, you saw it in action there, folks. So, yeah, that was pretty good. All right, thanks.